There's a quiet revolution happening in the world of sculpture, one that blends the ancient warmth of wood with the futuristic clarity of resin. These minimalist abstract pieces aren't just objects to look at, they're experiences to feel, conversations between artist and material that invite us to slow down and appreciate the beauty and simplicity. What makes these sculptures so compelling is their ability to speak without words. The wood, whether it's rich walnut, pale maple, or weathered driftwood, carries with it centuries of growth, each ring telling stories of sunshine and storms. Then there's the resin, that magical modern material that can be as clear as a mountain stream or as deep as the ocean, depending on how the artist chooses to work with it. Together, they create a visual poetry that's both timeless and contemporary. The process of creating these pieces is as fascinating as the finished works themselves. Artists begin by searching for just the right piece of wood, sometimes spending months waiting for that perfect slab with just the right character. They might sand it to silky smoothness or leave it rough to highlight nature's handiwork. Then comes the resin, measured, mixed, sometimes colored with pigments that range from subtle earth tones to vibrant bursts of color. The pouring is where the magic really happens, as the liquid resin finds its way into every crevice and curve of the wood, creating organic patterns that can never be exactly replicated. What's remarkable is how these materials, so different in origin and nature, come together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. The wood grounds the piece, giving it weight and history, while the resin lifts it, adding lightness and modernity. It's this tension between the ancient and the contemporary that gives these sculptures their emotional power. In our homes and workspaces, these pieces do more than just decorate, they transform the energy of a room. A small resin and wood sculpture on a desk becomes a focal point for contemplation. A larger wall piece can change how light moves through a space, creating ever-shifting patterns as the day progresses. Because they're abstract, they don't impose meaning but rather invite personal interpretation. One person might see a frozen moment of crashing waves, another might see the meeting of earth and sky, and someone else might simply appreciate the interplay of form and texture. The artists behind these works are part alchemist, part poet. They need the precision of a scientist when working with resin, measuring exact ratios, controlling temperatures, timing pours perfectly. But they also need the soul of a poet, knowing when to let the materials speak for themselves, when to guide them, and when to step back and let chance work its magic. It's this balance between control and surrender that makes each piece unique. There's also something deeply human about how these sculptures age. The wood continues to breathe subtly, its color deepening over time, while the resin remains perfectly clear, creating an interesting dialogue between change and permanence. Unlike mass-produced decor, these pieces actually become more interesting as they live with us, developing a patina of memory and use. In a world that often feels overwhelmingly complex and noisy, these minimalist sculptures offer a moment of quiet. They remind us that beauty doesn't require ornamentation, that meaning can emerge from simplicity. They ask us to slow down, to run our fingers along their surfaces, to notice how the light plays differently at various times of day. Perhaps what's most remarkable is how these works bridge categories. They're at home in sleek modern apartments and rustic cabins alike. They appeal to collectors of fine art and people who simply want something beautiful in their living space. They work in corporate offices and meditation rooms. This universal appeal speaks to something fundamental in their design, a connection to both our past and our future. As we continue to navigate an increasingly digital world, there's something profoundly comforting about objects that are unapologetically physical, that celebrate their materiality. The weight of the wood, the cool smoothness of the resin, these are sensations that ground us in the physical world. Yet at the same time, their abstract forms allow our minds to wander into more imaginative spaces. The next time you encounter one of these sculptures, take a moment to really engage with it. Notice how the light moves through the resin, how it highlights different aspects of the wood grain at different angles. See if you can detect the artist's hand in the subtle decisions, where they chose to let the wood speak for itself, where they intervened with resin. And most importantly, pay attention to what it makes you feel. Because that's where the true power of these pieces lies, not in what they represent, but in how they make us experience the world differently, if only for a moment. In galleries, in homes, in public spaces, these wood and resin sculptures are quietly changing how we think about contemporary art. They prove that minimalism doesn't mean simple, that abstraction can be deeply personal, and that the most powerful artistic statements sometimes come in the most understated forms. As we move forward in this century, it's likely we'll see even more innovative uses of these materials, but the core appeal will remain the same, that magical alchemy of nature and human creativity frozen in perfect balance. What began as an artistic experiment has blossomed into a full movement, one that continues to evolve as artists push the boundaries of what these materials can do. Some are incorporating metals, others are experimenting with embedded objects or layered colors. The possibilities seem endless, yet the heart remains the same, that beautiful dialogue between organic and synthetic, between chance and control, between the past and the future. For those of us lucky enough to live with these pieces, they become more than art. They become companions in our daily lives, changing with the light, revealing new aspects of themselves over time. They remind us to appreciate the beauty in imperfection, to value both nature and human ingenuity, and to find moments of stillness in our busy lives. In this way, these minimalist wood and resin sculptures do more than decorate our spaces, they enrich our way of seeing the world. And isn't that, after all, what great art should do? Not just to be looked at, but to change how we look. Not just to occupy space, but to transform how we experience space. These sculptures, in their quiet, unassuming way, manage to do all this and more, proving that sometimes, less really is more, and that true sophistication often lies in restraint. As we continue to seek meaning in an increasingly complex world, perhaps what we need more of is exactly this kind of art. Pieces that don't shout but whisper, that don't overwhelm but invite, that don't dictate but suggest. In their simplicity lies their power, and in their material honesty lies their beauty. The wood remembers, the resin reflects, and together they create something that feels both ancient and utterly new, a perfect metaphor for our times. So the next time you pass by one of these remarkable creations, don't just glance. Stop, look closer, and let yourself be drawn into their quiet world. You might be surprised at what you discover, both in the art and in yourself. Because the best art doesn't just show us something new, it helps us see everything anew. Minimalist wood and resin abstract sculptures represent a captivating fusion of natural elegance and modern artistry, embodying a harmonious balance between organic warmth and contemporary sophistication. These sculptures, characterized by their clean lines, subtle textures, and interplay of materials, invite viewers to engage with art on a deeply personal level, evoking emotions and interpretations as unique as the individuals who encounter them. The marriage of wood and resin creates a striking visual dialogue, the warmth and grain of the wood contrasting with the sleek, translucent qualities of resin, resulting in pieces that feel both timeless and avant-garde. This artistic medium transcends traditional boundaries, offering a fresh perspective on abstraction by blending the raw beauty of nature with the precision of human craftsmanship. One of the most compelling aspects of minimalist wood and resin sculptures is their ability to convey complexity through simplicity. The minimalist approach strips away excess, leaving only the essential forms and textures to speak for themselves. This restraint allows the inherent qualities of the materials to shine, whether it's the rich, swirling patterns of burl wood or the mesmerizing depth of tinted resin. The transparency of resin can create the illusion of suspended movement, as if capturing a fleeting moment in solid form, while the wood provides a grounding element, connecting the piece to the earth and its natural origins. This duality makes these sculptures particularly resonant, as they bridge the gap between the ephemeral and the eternal. The creative process behind these sculptures is both meticulous and intuitive. Artists must carefully select wood pieces that complement the resin's fluidity, considering factors like grain direction, knots, and natural imperfections that add character. The resin, often hand-poured in layers, requires precision to avoid bubbles or uneven curing, while also allowing for spontaneous effects like swirling pigments or embedded elements. The result is a collaborative dance between artist and material, where control and unpredictability coexist. This balance of intention and chance gives each sculpture its own unique identity, ensuring that no two pieces are ever exactly alike. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, minimalist wood and resin sculptures often carry deeper symbolic meaning. The combination of organic and synthetic materials can reflect themes of coexistence, between humanity and nature, tradition and innovation, or chaos and order. The transparency of resin might suggest clarity or vulnerability, while the solidity of wood evokes strength and resilience. Some pieces play with negative space, using voids to represent absence or potential, while others use layered resin to create a sense of depth, as if inviting the viewer to look beyond the surface. These interpretive possibilities make the sculptures endlessly engaging, as they encourage contemplation and personal reflection. In interior spaces, these sculptures serve as focal points that elevate their surroundings without overwhelming them. Their minimalist design ensures they integrate seamlessly into various decor styles, from rustic to ultramodern, while their tactile qualities invite closer inspection. Whether displayed as a standalone art piece or as part of a curated collection, they bring a sense of calm and sophistication to any environment. The way light interacts with resin, casting shadows, refracting rays, or glowing under directed illumination, adds a dynamic element, ensuring the sculpture evolves with the changing daylight or artificial lighting. The growing popularity of minimalist wood and resin sculptures reflects a broader cultural shift toward mindful consumption and appreciation for handcrafted artistry. In a world saturated with mass-produced goods, these pieces stand out as testaments to patience, skill, and intentionality. Collectors and art enthusiasts are drawn to their understated elegance and the stories they tell, both of the material's origins and the artist's vision. As the art form continues to evolve, artists experiment with new techniques, such as incorporating metallic leaf, mixed media, or unconventional wood types, pushing the boundaries of what these sculptures can express. Ultimately, minimalist wood and resin abstract sculptures are more than just decorative objects. They are meditations on form, material, and meaning. They challenge viewers to slow down, observe closely, and find beauty in simplicity. By uniting the organic and the synthetic, the ancient and the contemporary, they remind us of the enduring power of art to inspire, provoke, and connect. Whether admired for their craftsmanship, their aesthetic harmony, or their symbolic depth, these sculptures leave a lasting impression, proving that sometimes, the most profound statements are made not through extravagance, but through restraint and thoughtful composition. In a fast-paced world, they offer a moment of pause, a visual sanctuary where nature and artistry coexist in perfect balance.